The chair leaves out floor amendment number 13 by Senator Garcia. The secretary will read the amendment.
Floor amendment number 13 by Garcia.
Chair recognizes Senator Garcia to explain
Thank you, Mr.
floor amendment
President.
13.
Mr. President and members, if this bill is truly about women's health, and we are concerned about the health of the mother and the unborn child, I urge you to adopt this amendment. Members, the CHIP prenatal program provides services for pregnant women and her unborn child when they are uninsured and do not qualify for Medicaid. Services include prenatal visits, prescription prenatal vitamins, labor with delivery, and postpartum care. Currently, the program only covers 2 postpartum visits for the mother, and only if those 2 visits occur within 60 days of delivery. This bill would extend the coverage to provide mothers with 6 covered postpartum visits within the 6 months after delivery, or about 1 a month. Members, my amendment ensures women who decide to move forward with their pregnancy and give birth are healthy mothers by extending the postpartum care they receive after birth. This is a critical time for new mothers. There are so many adjustments to life, not just physical healing from giving birth, but one important aspect of new motherhood is ensuring that there are no problems with breastfeeding a newborn child. Unfortunately, many new mothers have difficulties breastfeeding, and that is why my amendment extends postpartum care to 6 months. Members, if this is really about the well-being and health of mothers and newborns,
and we want to ensure that the mothers don't suffer any experiences that they will not want to do again, perhaps this is one way to make sure that if they do get pregnant again, that they are taken care of and don't make the wrong decision the next time. So, Mr. President, I move for adoption of this amendment, amendment number 13.
Thank you, Senator Garcia. The chair recognizes Senator.
I think that's right.
This is the same one we have.
I think Senator
Garcia,
Sylvia
would you examine the amendment that we have, floor amendment number 13 that was passed out? Senator Seliger is reading the amendments carefully, and is there some confusion by staff as to which amendment was to be passed out?
No, it might be on my part. I apologize. I thought I had been told that the other one, my other amendment, it was up next. So let me,
This is the one I have on my desk.
no, well, I was following the list that I'd been given earlier, so I apologize if I can start again.
Please do.
Or we can substitute and make, well, I think the confusion for me was that we were given the list by your staff, and then I think we plugged into of Leticia Vandenpoot's.
Well, it's all fine. It's
Okay.
all fine. Why don't we go ahead and, do you have a copy of floor amendment 13 that was being discussed, or that at least the members believe?
Right.
Could you explain that one?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, super.
Got it. I apologize, Mr. President.
The chair recognizes Senator Garcia to explain floor amendment 13.
Members, we have spoken at length over the past few weeks over improving the health and safety of women in this state. And I think we can all agree that if we can reduce the number of unplanned pregnancies in this state, then we will reduce the number of situations in which mothers and families are put in a situation in which they have to make such a tough decision like abortion. Therefore, members, I ask for your support for this amendment, which aims to take proactive steps by having the Health and Human Services Commission launch a marketing campaign aimed at education of young men and women of this state on ways to reduce STDs, unwanted pregnancies, and abortions. This is even such a problem at the national level that the Center for Disease Control even gave out national grants to various cities and states who implemented education programs and marketing campaigns for a minimum of 5 years because they believe that these types of programs really do reduce the number of STDs and unintended pregnancies. Furthermore, our very own University of Texas at San Antonio qualified for one of these grants, and the Austin Independent School District implemented a similar program in conjunction with some community organizations. Because in case you were wondering, Texas ranks at the very top when it comes to the number of unplanned pregnancies and STDs. That is not an area where we should strive to be number one. A marketing campaign in both English and Spanish is a proven way of educating our population and reducing the root cause of all the issues we have been talking about over the course of the last few weeks. Members, if you truly want to improve the health of our citizens and help reduce some of the root causes that lead to the elective abortions, I ask you to support Amendment number 13.
Thank you, Senator Garcia. The chair recognizes Senator Hager on floor Amendment 13.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Senator Garcia. And I appreciate you bringing this. I think this is really a funding issue that we need to deal with when we're talking about the appropriations process. And I know Senator Nelson has talked extensively at different times about what we did in the regular legislative session in the appropriations process for increasing funding, if I recall, around $180 million, I think she had talked about in different women's health care programs. And I think this would be appropriate at that time during the appropriations process, that we would advocate for funding and increased dollars. And so with that, I would ask that we table floor amendment number 13.
The chair recognizes Senator Garcia to close.
Members, again, if we're truly interested in the women's health and we're truly trying to reduce unplanned pregnancies, a marketing campaign such as I've outlined in this amendment is really something what we should do as this state faces the next decade of growing populations in this state. This marketing campaign should be statewide. It should be in English and Spanish, and it should really get to talking about the root causes of an unplanned pregnancy, so that we can get the most information out and reduce them. Thank you, Mr. President. I move for adoption of floor amendment number 13.
Thank you, Senator Garcia. Members, the issue before us is the motion to table by Senator Hager, opposed by Senator Garcia. The Secretary will call the roll.
Birdwell, Campbell, Corona, Davis, Dewell, Duncan, Ellis, Eltype, Estes, Frazier, Garcia, Hancock, Hager, Hinojosa, Huffman, Lucio, Nelson, Nichols, Patrick, Paxton, Rodriguez, Schwertner, Sulliger, Taylor, Uresti, Vandeputte, Watson, West, Whitmire, Zaffarini.
Members, there being 18 ayes and 12 nays, the motion to table is sustained. The chair lays out floor amendment number 14 by Senator Watson. The Secretary will read the amendment.
Floor amendment number 14 by Watson.
Chair recognizes Senator Watson to explain floor amendment 14.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Members, while there's a lot we disagree about on this topic, a lot of details we disagree about, one of the things that we don't disagree is we all want to prevent abortions. And as HB2 seeks to prevent or decrease abortions by setting certain time limits and in other ways, a very common sense way for us to reduce or prevent abortions is by reducing or preventing unplanned pregnancies. As has already been pointed out, and I think everybody on the floor knows, Texas has one of the highest rates of teen pregnancies in the United States. And the Centers for Disease Control say that we're number one in, as we've also pointed out tonight, in the second pregnancy for teen mothers. This amendment is a common sense amendment that I've offered before. It could allow us to reach some common ground, and voting against this amendment is in essence voting against and showing opposition to educating our children in such a way so that they will be better equipped to prevent unplanned pregnancies. This amendment would require that school districts notify parents in writing about state sex education standards and about the actual content of their children's sex education classes. The amendment improves on the ability of parents, something else that we all say we want, which is the ability for parents to be involved in their children's lives in a way that help them get through those teen years and again avoid unplanned pregnancies. It would improve the ability of parents to become involved in their sex education courses. But let me be very clear, members. What this does not do is it does not mandate that schools teach about things like contraception. Specifically, what it would do is parents would receive a statement of whether the instruction is considered by the district to be abstinence-only instruction or comprehensive instruction, which would include an explanation of the difference between those types of instruction and a specific statement regarding whether the student will receive information on contraception. Parents of the state of Texas should not assume their children will receive comprehensive sex education simply because they're enrolled in a sex education course at school. This amendment would give parents the information necessary to supplement their child's education where needed. Now, members, please look at the amendment because it's very important as we talk about preventing or reducing abortions. One of the things that what the amendment says is that it would point out that the instruction it would point out and be required that it tell parents about state law to present abstinence from sexual activity as the preferred choice of behavior in relationship to all sexual activity for unmarried persons of school age, and devote more attention to abstinence from sexual activity than to any other behavior. And then it goes on to say that that statement would tell the parents whether they're getting abstinence-only education or more comprehensive sex education. Members, we're talking about trying to stop abortions. We're talking about stopping abortions not by outlawing in this amendment, not by outlawing safe and legal ones, and not by undermining Texans and Texas women's constitutional rights, but by empowering individuals with knowledge of health and science, responsibility, and the consequences of certain actions. This amendment is what we should have been doing, I believe, and we're all along, looking at ways we find common ground, we use common sense, and we prevent unplanned pregnancies. Again, I want to say, members, I know some people feel under the thumb of having no amendments on this bill. This amendment, voting against this amendment, is voting against education to prevent unplanned pregnancies and therefore prevent abortions. Voting against this amendment is opposing parents being involved in sex education for their children in such a way that they can help prevent unplanned pregnancies and prevent abortions. So, Mr. President, I move adoption of floor amendment number 14.
Senator Davis, for what purpose?
Will Senator Watson yield for
Senator
a
Watson
question or
yield?
two?
I will, thank you.
Senator Watson, of course, I appreciate and very much support the amendment that you're offering. I have some statistics here. Do you know what the high school diploma or the high school graduation rates of teen moms is versus those who do not become mothers while they're in high school?
Yeah, I think what you're referring to is that teen mothers only receive their diploma about 51% of the time, as compared to 89% for those who don't become mothers during their teen years. I think one of the statistics is less than 4 in 10 end up with a diploma if they've had a child before the age of 18.
And do you know what the leading cause of high school dropout is in girls?
Well, there's one study that indicates, or one review, I don't know what the appropriate term for it would be, that 30% of teenage girls cited pregnancy or parenthood as a reason for them dropping out. So that parenthood in the teen years ends up being is the leading cause of dropouts among teenage girls.
And then these girls who do become teen mothers, some of whom hopefully wouldn't have had they had adequate sex education in their school system, this creates a generational problem, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. In fact, one survey I saw or study indicated that less than 2% of young teen moms, meaning that they had a baby before the age of 18, attain a college degree. So what happens is, well, I'm sorry, but by the age of 30. So then what happens with them is their children, the children of teen moms, they are less likely, so the kid of the kid is less likely to go on and get a high school diploma or get a college degree. So what happens is we get into a cycle.
Thank you, Senator Watson.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Davis. Senator Hager on floor amendment number 14 by Watson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Senator Watson. I believe we should be doing more education. I agree with you on that. And I said that a few weeks ago when I think you had a similar amendment or maybe the same one. With that, I also do not believe that it's germane to this bill, but I'm not going to ask to call on that point of order. Instead, I would just ask that we table the amendment because I don't think that it's germane to the bill.
Well,
Senator Watson to close.
thank you very much, Mr. President. And Senator Hager, I won't get into a debate about what's germane and what's not germane on this floor because of the difficulty of that. But what I will say is this. I believe it is germane. It is germane in part because the goal of your bill, as you have said, and as has been indicated by some very passionate speeches here tonight, the goal is to reduce or prevent abortions. You do it through a variety of ways in this bill, including setting time limits and in other ways. That is one of the results, and contrary to some of the statements, the political statements that have been made, it has been the stated intent in many ways. If that is the case, we can look at different provisions of the bill to determine what the bill is about, and that gets us to a point on germaneness. And what this amendment does, is it does exactly what you have indicated you want to do, which is prevent abortions by preventing unplanned pregnancies. The other thing that you claim that this bill is about is you claim it's about women's health. Well, providing better sex education for these young women, these girls, these teenagers, these children, by providing better sex education, we will enhance their health. We will enhance their health. So, members, this has been difficult for all of us for a variety of different reasons. We should be seeking common ground where we can. And if in fact, we want to reduce abortions in this state, one of the best ways we can do it is by reducing unplanned pregnancies. And we know we have a lot of work that needs to be done because we rank so high when it comes to the number of teen pregnancies, and we rank at the top when it comes to the second pregnancy for teenage moms. Members, I would ask respectfully that you vote no on the motion to table, and let's be for educating our kids so that we don't have unplanned pregnancies.
Thank you, Senator Watson. Members, Senator Hager moves to table floor amendment number 14. The motion is to table floor amendment number 14. Secretary, please call the roll.
Birdwell, Campbell, Corona, Davis, Duell, Duncan, Ellis, Eltife, Estes, Frazier, Garcia, Hancock, Hager, Hinojosa, Huffman, Lucio, Nelson, Nichols, Patrick, Paxton, Rodriguez, Schwartner, Sulliger, Taylor, Uresti, Vandepute, Watson, West, Whitmire, Zaffarini.
18 ayes, 12 nays. The motion to table prevails. The following amendment is floor amendment number 15 by Watson. Secretary, please read the amendment.